In the bustling heart of a crowded airport terminal, where weary travelers shuffled like ghosts under the harsh fluorescent lights, a single dad named Alex clutched his 4-year-old daughter Lily's tiny hand. His eyes, rimmed with exhaustion from a sleepless night, scanned the gate area for their assigned seats on the delayed flight home. But as he approached row 12, seat A, the one he'd double-checked on his boarding pass, a sharp-dressed woman in her mid-40s was already settling in, her designer bag plopped defiantly on the armrest. Alex's heart sank. "Excuse me," he said politely, his voice barely cutting through the din of announcements and crying infants, "I think that's my seat." The woman glanced up, her expression a mix of annoyance and indifference, and replied coolly, "Well, it's mine now." Seconds later, everything changed, but not in the way anyone could have predicted. What unfolded next would turn a moment of frustration into a lifeline of hope, reminding us all that sometimes, the universe conspires in the most unexpected ways. Stick around till the end, because this story might just restore your faith in humanity, and if it does, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales that touch the soul. Alex Thompson was no stranger to hardship. At 32, he had become a widower overnight when a drunk driver stole his wife, Sarah, from him 2 years earlier. Sarah, with her infectious laugh and unwavering optimism, had been the glue holding their little family together. Now, it was just him and Lily, navigating a world that felt too big and too cruel. Alex worked 2 jobs, a daytime gig as a mechanic and nights freelancing as a graphic designer, to keep the roof over their heads in their modest apartment in Chicago. Lily, with her curly brown hair and big blue eyes that mirrored her mother's, was his everything. But lately, she'd been struggling. A rare genetic disorder had surfaced, causing chronic fatigue and occasional seizures. The doctors called it mitochondrial disease, a fancy term for something that drained the life out of her tiny body. Trips like this one, to visit specialists in New York, were exhausting but necessary. Alex carried her medications in a worn backpack, along with her favorite stuffed bear, Mr. Whiskers, who had seen better days. That day at JFK Airport, the flight to O'Hare was already 2 hours delayed due to a storm rolling in from the east. Alex had been juggling Lily on his hip while she whimpered softly, her little body hot with a low-grade fever. He'd promised her ice cream once they boarded, anything to keep her spirits up. As he stood there, confronting the woman in his seat, a wave of defeat washed over him. "Please," he tried again, shifting Lily's weight. "My daughter, she's not feeling well. We need that window seat, it helps her with the pressure changes." The woman, whose name tag on her briefcase read Dr. Elena Vasquez, sighed dramatically and crossed her arms. "Look, I've got a deadline. I need to work. Find another spot." Murmurs rippled through the nearby passengers, some shot sympathetic glances at Alex, others buried their noses in their phones, unwilling to get involved. Just as Alex turned away, ready to plead with a flight attendant, Lily let out a small gasp. Her body went rigid, her eyes fluttering as a seizure gripped her. Time seemed to slow. Alex dropped to his knees, cradling her gently, his voice a frantic whisper, "Lily, baby, stay with me. Daddy's here." Panic surged through the terminal like electricity. Passengers gasped, a few pulling out their phones to record. But Dr. Vasquez, Elena, sprang into action. In one fluid motion, she cleared space around them, barking orders with the authority of someone who knew exactly what to do. "I'm a doctor. Give them room." "Sir, is this a seizure? Does she have medication?" Alex, tears blurring his vision, nodded numbly and fumbled for the backpack. Elena administered the emergency dose with steady hands, her earlier annoyance replaced by focused calm. As Lily's tremor subsided, Elena knelt beside them, checking her pulse. "She's stabilizing. We need to get her on the plane with oxygen if possible." The flight crew, alerted by the commotion, rushed over. But it was Elena's expertise that turned the tide. She explained Lily's condition in medical jargon that made the attendants nod vigorously, upgrading Alex and Lily to first class without hesitation. This man and his daughter need priority, Elena insisted. As they boarded early, Alex looked at her, bewildered. Why did you help? You took our seat. Elena's eyes softened, a hint of regret flashing across her face. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I was so wrapped up in my own world, rushing to a conference. But seeing her, it reminded me of my own loss. As the plane taxied down the runway, Alex and Elena found themselves seated across from each other in the spacious first-class cabin. Lily, now asleep with her head on Alex's lap, breathed steadily under a blanket provided by the crew. The storm outside raged, lightning illuminating the clouds, but inside, a tentative conversation began. Elena shared her story over complimentary coffee. She was a pediatric neurologist, specializing in rare childhood disorders. 10 years ago, she'd lost her own daughter, Mia, to a similar condition. She was 6, Elena said, her voice cracking. I threw myself into work after that, thinking if I saved others, it would fill the void. But it just made me cold. Snatching that seat? That was me being selfish, avoiding connection. Alex listened, his heart aching in recognition. I get it. After Sarah died, I shut down too. It's like you're afraid to let anyone in, because losing them hurts too much. The flight stretched on, delayed further by turbulence, giving them hours to talk. Elena asked about Lily's symptoms in detail, pulling out her laptop to review notes from her research. This sounds like a variant I've studied, she said excitedly. There's a new clinical trial starting in Chicago next month. I could pull strings to get her enrolled. Alex's eyes widened. The waiting lists for such trials were endless. He'd been denied twice already due to bureaucracy. You'd do that? For strangers? Elena smiled faintly. We're not strangers anymore. And Mia, she'd want me to help. Back on the ground in Chicago, as they deplaned, Elena handed Alex her card. Call me tomorrow. We'll set up an appointment. But the real change came in the days that followed. True to her word, Elena fast-tracked Lily into the trial. The treatment, a cutting-edge gene therapy, showed promise almost immediately. Lily's energy returned, she started playing without tiring so quickly, her laughter echoing through their apartment like music Alex hadn't heard in years. Elena became a fixture in their lives, not just as a doctor, but as a friend. She joined them for picnics in the park, where Lily chased butterflies, and shared quiet dinners where stories of Sarah and Mia wove together like threads in a tapestry of healing. Yet, challenges lingered. Alex grappled with guilt. Why did fate intervene now, after so much suffering? One evening, as they watched the sunset from his balcony, Elena confessed her own struggles. I almost didn't help that day. I was so angry at the world. But seeing you too, it cracked something open in me. Alex nodded. Me too. I was ready to give up on people. But you showed me kindness exists, even in the chaos. Their bond deepened, evolving from gratitude to something more profound. Elena, who had sworn off relationships after her divorce following Mia's death, found herself opening up. Alex, terrified of loving again, took tentative steps forward. A year later, at Lily's 6th birthday party, surrounded by balloons and cake, Alex proposed to Elena in the same park where they'd first bonded post-flight. She said yes, tears streaming, as Lily clapped her hands in delight. Through it all, Alex reflected on that airport moment. What seemed like a theft was a turning point, a snatch that led to salvation. Life's twists, he realized, often disguise blessings as burdens. The family they built wasn't perfect, Lily's condition required ongoing care, and old wounds sometimes resurfaced, but it was resilient, forged in empathy and second chances. And so, dear viewers, if this story of a single dad's stolen seat turning into a stolen heart moved you, remember, in a world full of snatched moments, kindness can change everything. Hit that like button if it inspired you, and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming tales that prove humanity's best is just a connection away. Who knows? Your next encounter might be the one that changes your life forever.